This hideous woman actually, right in front of everyone, stopped her own daughter's breathing with her own hands. Then she stepped over her daughter's body, walked onto the stage with a smile, and began dancing comically. One moment the audience was still applauding and cheering for her performance. The next she pulled out a toy gun and began firing wildly into the distance. Listening to the audience's terrified screams, watching them trample each other as they fled in panic, the woman stood on the stage, feeling an unprecedented thrill. Because all of this was her revenge on this mainstream world. Ellie wasn't originally a dancer. She had been overweight since childhood. In a school where appearance was everything, she had long endured ridicule and abuse. One day in class, starving, she stole a bite of bread, only to be publicly ratted out by the student in front of her, who claimed it was distracting. The teacher, who had always disliked Ellie, verbally abused her in front of the entire class and forced her to write "I am fat" 50 times on the blackboard. In that moment, her self-respect was completely shattered. She swore she would become beautiful and reclaim her dignity. So the following Christmas, she eagerly asked her parents to give her a pair of stylish cha-cha shoes, hoping to showcase her beauty through dance. Her parents agreed, but when the day came, compared to the beautiful gifts her two sisters received, her parents gave her only a pair of cheap military training shoes. All her pent-up frustration erupted in that moment. This wasn't just about a pair of shoes, it was about her parents' arrogance and injustice toward her. She smashed the Christmas tree the family had just decorated, then shoved her parents aside. She was determined to break ties with them completely and run away from home. Yet the first thing her father said when he chased after her wasn't a plea to stay, but a threat to send her to an orphanage. She couldn't take it anymore, and resolved to leave this home. But she didn't know that this step would push her into an even deeper abyss. After leaving home, she hitched a ride. The driver seemed friendly at first, promising to take her to a town with good transportation. But as the car drove on, it ended up in a desolate wilderness. Ellie sensed something was wrong. She hurriedly got out of the car, but there was no one around to turn to for help. She didn't have the strength to fight back. Then the driver revealed his true beast-like nature and took advantage of her. Months later, Ellie's belly grew larger and larger, but the driver had vanished without a trace. Stranded in this unfamiliar place with nowhere to stay, Ellie had no choice but to call the driver for help, but he refused to take any responsibility. Left with no other option, Ellie gave birth to the child alone. It was a daughter. Ellie named her Molly. She hoped Molly's birth would bring a touch of sweetness to her bitter life, so she worked tirelessly to support Molly. By day, she waited tables at a restaurant. By night, she danced in nightclubs with heavy makeup. To scrape together enough money for Molly's formula, she even took to the streets as a prostitute. Sometimes driven mad by hunger, she would team up with two friends to rob homeless people in back alleys. Her life went on in this absurd way. She gave everything she had to her daughter, but as Molly grew up, she became just as rebellious and hot-tempered. Her temper was even worse than her mother's. The two argued constantly at home, and their relationship gradually fell apart. Under the weight of long-suppressed anger, Ellie gradually lost control and struck her for the first time. To help her unwind, her friends recommended a newly opened hair salon. She had no idea that place would become the final straw that broke her spirit. Because the salon was run by a bizarre couple, their business wasn't aimed at respectable customers, but rather catered to a crowd with depraved tastes. Upon hearing that the shoplifting-prone Ellie was coming in, the couple eagerly opened the door to welcome her. And it was they who would gradually push Ellie to the brink of a mental breakdown, driving her to take her daughter's life, then frame her as a murderer and send her to court.